Well, good morning on this December 20th. Very happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy Kwanzaa. I believe Hanukkah has finished, but we are celebrating nonetheless. This week, we tried something new and had the Sunday Service Committee present as a group different holidays of the December time. So that is what we're discussing today. And I think Lurley wanted to go first.
I just wanted to say how much I appreciated the service today. It was so informative and it was on a level that I could understand. So it was, I really appreciated it. And I just concluded from the whole thing how very similar all of these faiths are. And, you know, again, it's something that I appreciate in the Unitarian Church.
Yeah. I meant to mention in the opening how wonderful it was to work with the women of the Sunday Service Committee, but the thing that I'm most grateful for was actually Sharon's contribution with singing "We Are." That
Yes,
really,
it was lovely.
Thank you, Sharon.
Yeah.
That was great.
Very lovely.
Beautiful.
I feel like it really made the service. So
Beautiful voice.
think so
and
too.
beautiful song.
Together,
It was
I think.
wonderful.
yeah. Lillian wanted to say something.
Yeah, I've calmed down a little. When I first came on, I was just so excited with us. I mean, that's the first time that as a group, the Sunday Services Committee has done an entire service together. And when I saw it, I was so in awe of our creativity and our talent and our ability to just mold and fit because of the commitments that we share, a service that flowed so beautifully. So I'm really grateful again for our committee and how well we worked together, even though we did each part separately. However, I would be remiss if I didn't say what I said, and I was bouncing when I said it because I was so excited before we started taping this. And that is the amazingly beautiful, incredible job, Michael, that you did with those graphics.
Thank you.
On the music and seamlessly putting what 5 different people, 6 if you count Sharon, put together. It's I think it's your best work. You might not agree with me, but not because I'm a part of it. I just think that you did an outstanding job. I did not want to let a moment pass without being able to say that. Thank you.
Well, that means a lot to me. It was a lot of fun to work on. I've very much enjoyed these holiday services. So thank you for that. And we should also mention that this was really spearheaded by Lillian, that she was the one who really came up with the structure and the idea. So right back at you. Martha had her hand up, then we had Sharon, then Glennis.
Martha now just had the great thought that she had totally go out of her head. So go ahead, Sharon.
Okay, if it comes back, let us know. Sharon, go ahead.
Well, I really liked all the graphics and your slideshow, Michael, but I didn't see you.
Yeah.
Oh.
I was disappointed.
Yeah. That I did mine early on when we still didn't know exactly what we were going to do, and I didn't want to let it go. So, and plus you see me all the time, so I figured.
Well, I thought maybe you were using a woman's excuse. It was a bad hair day or something.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah.
I know what I wanted to say. Yeah.
Okay, so let's do let's do Martha, then Glennis, then Paul.
Well, I wanted to mention, I thought the graphics that you showed your story with were very, very lovely. And that's a faith that not too many people are familiar with. And I think the graphics lended so much to it because it just shows how everything is connected. Going back to the 7th principle that JC was talking about, I mean, you know, that we're all interconnected. So I thought it was wonderful. I wondered what happened to my couple of sentences about welcome. How did that
Oh, I don't
get in
know.
there?
I'm not
I
sure.
don't know. All of a sudden I'm talking and of course everybody knows who I am, but there's
Hmm.
about 4 sentences that got cut off and I'm wondering if the camera just wasn't recording. I don't know.
We were having some issues. Yeah, I don't know what happened there. Yeah, as far as my part, you know, Zoroastrianism, there's probably about like outside of Iran and India, I think there's like 3,000 of us, you know.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's just not that many. And but it is a religion that has influenced virtually every religion around it tremendously. So, you know, in a way, everybody who is one of the major religions is a Zoroastrian in some way. So um
The
yeah.
other thing, may I just say,
Oh, sure.
one thing that we did do in 2017, and I know that Lilene and JC weren't there. Do you remember we did the Christmas Carol
Mhm.
service? And it was an original writing that JC had. And so
Yep.
we did have a service that included all kinds of hymns and
Mhm.
candles and whatnot. And it told the story, the Christian story with the
Mhm.
Unitarian bent. So we did do something, but it wasn't all of us. There was like three or four of us.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I think that's something that maybe we need to consider another year. I mean, to do it again, something like that.
What we
Or
did,
some kind of
yeah.
show.
So what Martha's talking about is we did a slideshow on the Christmas creche, which JC had written. And you know, I've still got that slideshow saved. So, you know, any Christmas we want to resurrect that is great.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's do Glennis and then Paul.
Well, I had a couple of things. First of all, did you generate that Celtic music yourself?
Yeah.
You know what? That was absolutely exactly what I had in mind. You and I are really
That's
on
perfect.
here. Yeah, it was perfect. The other thing I want to say is that we did have like 2 threads pulling us along here. And one was Lilene and the other one was Martha. They kept us on task so we could get this thing done. And I don't know that I would have kept on it if it wasn't for that, you know. So kudos on that. And I thought that everyone did a superb job on it. It flowed together. It was beautiful throughout. I know that I'm kind of doing this thing a little bit, only because I was involved. But you guys rock.
Oh, thank you, Paul.
One of the things that I was thinking about during the sermon, excellence, by the way, is how all of these past traditions have been buried by the technological rise, I think, of mass media in the 20th century, radio, television, things like that. And so today we have really little connection or knowledge of all of the different things that have lent themselves to what we believe is Christmas. So I think it's really good that we get back to our roots and find some of the similarities in ancient belief systems. And the other thing I just wanted to note for everybody is that tomorrow is the conjunction of Saturn and Jupiter. They will be less than 1 degree apart, and they're going to be very bright in the sky. So if you get a chance after sunset, go out and take a look at it if it's not raining.
Which sky?
Which way do we look?
Direction.
Southwest.
Southwest.
It's in the paper this morning.
Yeah.
Oh, it is.
was
I haven't
presented.
read the paper. Yeah. Because I had seen that online a couple of weeks ago. Yeah.
With the cloud cover that we have, I'm not terribly optimistic. But who knows? Miracles can happen, right? This is the time of year for miracles. So
Along that same note, I got an email from Michelle Levante, and she has done a discussion, which I believe is going to be on YouTube, of what that coming together means and kind of a projection for the coming year. A very talented woman, so you might check it out. Michelle Avanti.
Very cool.
Is her channel with her name?
Yes, I believe it is. Or
Okay.
you can go to any email from her and there's a direct connection.
You know,
I can send it to you if you can't find it.
that's interesting that you bring that up, because I woke up this morning and there were a few people that had recently watched her service that Lucy recorded when we first started doing these online services. So I wonder if she's sharing her stuff, which is awesome, and very good for us. So yeah,
Love to have her back again.
yeah,
Morning, Connie.
yeah. Good morning, Connie.
Good morning.
Yeah, and Paul, you know, I appreciate what you said about you know, the thread of and Lurley as well. You know, that was exactly what we were trying to get across, was a thread of commonality when it comes to these holiday traditions. So okay, who's next? No, we're done.
Crickets.
We can all, yeah.
Crickets. I'm playing the crickets now.
I thought I saw Kim's
Oh,
picture circled
Yeah.
with a frame once there that you, are you waiting for us to speak, Kim?
Sure, no problem.
Where'd she? Oh,
yeah. It sounds like there might be some connection trouble.
Ah, okay.
She's got her phone, looks like she has her phone up to her ear as well as her screen on.
Yeah.
My iPad is not working.
Yeah. Unfortunately, unfortunately, yeah. Sorry, Kim. Unfortunately, it's too distorted to understand. If you have access to the chat, maybe you could type in there. Sorry, I just had to mute you because of the distortion. I feel bad about doing that.
Such power you have.
Yeah. Well, Connie just joined us, so maybe while we try to work on Kim's situation, maybe Connie can.
Good morning.
Oh, okay. Looks like Sharon has some visitors.
I don't have anything to say yet.
Oh, okay. Okay,
I
great.
have a board meeting today, and so my brain is kind of.
Fair enough.
I had a question, Michael.
Yes.
Did what I sent out on Thursday, did that ever get published by the church?
Oh, I
You
don't know.
I sent out, remember I said
Yeah.
that Kirsty might not be able to do it. And I
got
sent it to everybody. And I know, huh?
I got it.
Oh, you did?
My email,
Okay.
yes.
Well, I sent it to the committee. It sent it to the 5 of us.
I got it from you, you see.
Yeah, I'll
Okay, so I didn't see it. I just,
okay.
I haven't been online.
That's fine.
Okay.
That's fine. I'll send out a mailing today then.
Please do, because I think the text was important to understand what was said.
Okay.
And I was glad that I had it to refer to, because I'm not a real auditory person.
Mhm.
And that's what we were trying to do, is to get it out before
No-
we did it. So it
yeah,
did go out and I just didn't see it.
No
Okay, thank you.
problem. Yeah, I'll send it out today. Yeah. Okay, so maybe we can steer the conversation in a holiday direction. Does anybody have a favorite holiday tradition that they've engaged in that means a lot to you? Go ahead, Julianne. Save us, Julianne.
I'll save you.
Thank you.
I may be the only person in Douglas County in Southern Oregon, but from a French family, we always have oysters at Christmas Eve. We have Christmas Eve dinner. And that
Can I
is
come?
a hard and fast rule.
Interesting. Yeah, go ahead, Glennis.
And the
Well-
Christmas tree only goes up on Christmas Eve.
Mm,
Oh,
Ah,
okay.
There were a number of them, of course. There was one that us we kids just sort of tried to avoid, and that was my father's lutefisk every Christmas Eve.
Oh, no, that's the worst.
Nasty stuff. Sorry to anybody who actually likes it, but no.
We had one that we have all set aside as no longer sensible, but Jim's family had something called Father's Kind, which the entire Laurelwood neighborhood came to enjoy also. It was basically potatoes and pepper and milk and pepper and butter and more pepper. And then it cooked for a long time until it just became a very peppery glop. And it was a marvelous tasting thing. But with the potatoes and the butter and the milk, there was nothing to recommend it for people after we got to be 70s. So we haven't had it in a long time. However, I know that both children know how to make it and probably don't. So sometime maybe I'll make some more just to have it. And the other thing that Mrs. Pratt, Grandma Pratt, used to make was lemon ice cream, which was purely whipping cream, lemons, and sugar. Also not highly recommended for the elderly now. But I've been thinking about those two things lately, and I'm obviously working up to where I'm going to end up doing it one of these minutes.
Well, you know, it's interesting that all three things have been about food, and it makes you wonder where food traditions come from. Martha.
Well, as many of you know, I grew up in an extended family that everybody was within like a 10-mile radius. And we spent Christmas Eve with my mom's side of the family, and then Christmas Day with my dad's side of the family in their humongous 3-story, beautiful old house. And I remember stringing popcorn. That was so exciting. Popcorn and cranberries. We would go over there, you know, and I don't remember how old I was, but probably 7 or 8 when it started. Aunt Lois and Uncle Franklin would have all this stuff out, and we'd have popcorn and cranberries all over the place. But they had this huge tree that went in their entrance hall that went up by the stairway. So I don't know how tall it was, but that needed a lot of popcorn and cranberries. And that was a lot of fun. And I never did that with my kids. And I know my kids missed all of that because we moved out to Southern California. We did not have, you know, a lot of family around, just my aunt and uncle. So anyway, I remember popcorn and cranberries.
Very cool. Laura Lee.
Michael's always afraid to call on me. In our family, it was while the boys were growing up. Well, I still to this day make homemade cinnamon rolls, and we spend the entire Christmas day opening presents and eating cinnamon rolls because the boys were so excited about seeing everybody else's presents open. We had to open one present at a time and pass it around. It was unbelievable. But yeah, cinnamon rolls was the thing.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, when my mother's mother, grandmother Tibbles, died, the first thought out of everybody's mind was, who's going to make cinnamon rolls?
Well, hey, isn't that reading the paper that Cinnabon has come?
Oh, is that true?
Oh,
And
really?
we locally have a Cinnabon now somewhere.
Yeah.
Oh my heavens. Oh
But
dear.
they're not as good as mine.
It's true.
No.
It's true. Yes.
Hopefully, can you make some and put it on all the doorsteps? New
Right.
tradition.
Well, I am going to make some for the holiday, but I don't know when Michael's coming over for dinner yet. So
Yes, we
I'll
will.
have lots of cinnamon rolls.
We will arrange that. So Kim, it looks like we got you working.
She's working now. Maybe.
Better now?
Yeah,
Yes.
that's a lot better.
I can.
Yeah.
And she's still having a connection.
Yeah, I'm fine.
um,
Am I?
yeah, you know, it's interesting because a lot of us, the traditions that we enjoy are so centered around family, you know, and especially young children, that I think, if you don't have kids, then it's like, and we talked about this a little bit last week, then it's kind of like, well, what's the point of doing this, you know, especially with the holidays. And so I can say that in my adult life, you know, the holidays have lost some amount of meaning. And I wonder, if we are isolated, you know, because of the COVID situation, um, how we can rectify that.
We have to come out of hiding.
Yeah.
Well,
Peek out and say, "Hey, everybody!"
Right.
Yeah,
one
go to
man,
Yeah, go ahead, Martha.
well, you know, we've had Diane come every Christmas since we've been here.
Mhm.
And this is really difficult this time, but we've decided we're going to FaceTime on Christmas Day. With the fact that we have technology, and a couple of groups that we're members of are going to do some kind of a rendezvous either Christmas Eve or sometime. And I'll have Karen and the boys also on FaceTime sometime
Oh,
during
great.
Christmas Day. And that's better than nothing, but it is, I'm very sad for the children. And I know that Diane considers this her home and her home base, her heart. And it's difficult for her that she's not going to be able to come. She made the decision that they were not going to come because it is too dangerous and not a good thing.
Yeah, and
And
the
so, so FaceTime is it.
state lines situation is making things even more complicated.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, Glenda's had her hand up.
Well, on the other hand, because of Zoom and FaceTime and all of that, I am actually visiting relatives I never get to see on Christmas.
Mhm.
And I will have physical Christmas with my son and daughter-in-law. I don't even have to cook.
Oh,
So
nice.
it's awesome. The kids are gone, so that we won't have that. That's kind of, I'm gonna miss that, but they'll be kind of a second Christmas when they return. They're with their father. But I guess what I'm saying is that I have a brother and sister that I've never met because I just found them, and my birth father's kids,
Mhm.
and I get to FaceTime with them now, and they live in Florida and Michigan, and then there's my brother on the other side that lives in Maine. So otherwise, I wouldn't be able to visit with my family much at all, except for the
Yeah.
two that are here.
Yeah, that, you know, it's interesting because as distasteful as I find Facebook these days, you know, I get to connect with people in India and Japan and England, and you know, all these friends that I've made where if I didn't have that, it's like I wouldn't know what was happening in their life. So, you know, we take the good and the bad. Laleen wanted to talk, and then Laura Lee.
I was, excuse me, I was thinking about my Christmas over time. And Christmas as a child for me was full of a lot of things, mostly no money, and secrets, because we had moved back to where my mother's family lived when I was about 7, and they were Jewish and religious and celebrated only Hanukkah. And so my immediate family, which was my mother and us 3 kids, had a Hanukkah bush, but that was like the big secret that we couldn't tell this other family because they had absolutely nothing to do at all with Christmas, and we had celebrated Christmas. Anyway, Christmases for me were lean. But when I got to be an adult, and at one point in my life, a stepson came into my life who then married and had 4 kids. My Christmas has changed immensely, and that's what I would like to share. We had a very diverse family, and so it just sort of naturally moved into, everything got celebrated. So my stepson married a Mexican woman. So Christmas Eve was always a very traditional Mexican time with Mexican foods, beans and tamales and, the whole thing, and oranges and lots of good cheer and music. And then Christmas morning was a traditional thing at my stepson's house. And then they would come to my house and we would have Christmas big lunch. And I always overdid it on presents. However, what was real important to me was that the children who had a lot of influence from the Mexican side of their family, because it was large and active, and my son's basically biological and step parents either had died or were alcoholics and totally non-functioning. So it was important to me that they had some influence from their African-American history. So starting pretty early in history, the kids are all, well into their 20s now, I set about trying to find appropriate Christmas wrap that had Black Santas or Black children or Black themed anything. And I don't know if y'all are aware of that, but we're only talking like 25 years ago. That was really difficult to find. So that's when my interest in Kwanzaa sort of began to evolve, and I would go down into different areas of the city and find the things that I needed, including Black baby dolls,
Oh, yeah.
Black anything. So this story is all leading up to my, how times change. We now have next door neighbors who are a mixture, African-American plus. And JC and I went holiday shopping last year for their daughter, Justice, and walked into Ross and had a whole selection of Black baby dolls. Black, what was that Disney thing that was so big?
And there was a teenage-ish sort of doll with a baby doll, both Black. And so we had the grown-up baby taking care of the tiny baby. I mean, it was just like too much.
Anyway, whatever Princess Disney story was available also had Black characters. So the child got, 3 varieties of Black dolls. And I'm just singing Roseburg Ross's praises and how much, even though there's a lot more room to go, but how much the world indeed has changed.
That is for sure. Yeah. Laura Lee.
I just was wanted to comment about our inability to socialize except on Zoom and such. It just so happened, I think it was yesterday, that I watched a documentary on the 1918 influenza.
Oh, yeah. I saw that.
Did you see that?
Yeah, seeing it. Yeah.
It was a lot worse than what we're going through.
Oh, yeah.
Simply
Oh, yeah.
because, we have technology today. I can see everybody. I can see, Laline, I like your hairdo. Martha, I've always loved your hair. And, I really, really miss fixing snacks for everybody for after.
Believe me, we miss that too.
Oh, thank you. But the fact that we are not out of touch with each other, we still are able to communicate and see each other is a real blessing. And I can see the light at the end of the tunnel personally, as far as this pandemic goes, that, it too shall pass.
We hope.
Yeah.
We hope. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So how about we do Sharon, then Connie, then JC. Yeah. Sharon, Connie, JC.
Okay. I know how distracting movement can be because you have this one little window and then somebody's moving. So I apologize. I had a knock at my door from my neighbor and her 2 grandchildren. So I'm glad you figured out you needed to mute our conversation because I didn't think about it before I went to answer the door.
That's okay. That's perfectly all right.
So I had an additional comment that I can't remember now. So thank you.
When you remember it, just raise your hand. We'll get right back to you.
Okay.
Connie.
Take notes, Sharon, because you'll forget it before he gets back to you.
Well, speaking of good note takers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there she is.
Connie.
Well, I wanted to just put in to the conversation how much I've appreciated letters from people. And you know, usually at Christmas, you get these Christmas cards and they'll have 2 sentences at the bottom. Well, this year, notice that more people are writing something. And I really appreciate that. And probably in the past, I've been not really that attentive to like the Christmas letter. But this year, that's something I'm really looking forward to.
Yeah, that's cool. I've seen an increase in Christmas cards to me this year, which has been very heartening. So yeah. JC.
Well, I was thinking of in the comment, yes, we've learned to use Zoom, and that has helped a lot of a closer feeling. How can we go further with that? In other words, that's a thing that people may miss when we have to now get in the car and travel in order to see each other. So Zoom may have changed us more than we know.
It's true.
But I realized that my daughter and son have a Zoom number, but we've never gotten together over Christmas. And we haven't used it to pull the family together. So there's still some discoveries to do of how we can use the technology we have. So I was just kind of thinking about, yeah, it's kind of amazing to think what eventually we'll be able to do, because this will seem very slow and pedantic, what we learn to do 5 years from now. So I don't know, we keep thinking and they keep discovering. And once again, somebody got into my phone last night, which was plugged in. And I now can't tell whether the phone is 100% or not, because they changed. It used to tell me 90%, 32%. Now they're doing a little zigzag through the middle of it. And so I don't know what that means.
How strange.
So,
You got an update is what happened.
yeah, I've had an update which has canceled my capacity to understand whether my phone needs to be plugged in or not.
That's
Okay.
interesting.
Find yourself a
that's my
millennial,
complaint.
you'll get it.
Yeah, well, since we started doing these remote services, it's been my hope that when we are able to meet again, God willing, soon,
And the creek don't rise.
yeah, and the creek don't rise, that we will be able to keep what's positive about our remote services, even when we are meeting again. So yeah, Connie.
Well, I want to say something about that because, being such a good note taker, I write down every week who comes to the Zoom meeting. And I think that meets a need for some of us. But I also think that sometimes we feel that because we've attended the Zoom meeting, for example, I'll just use Sharon, because attend the Zoom meeting, it's like in my brain, oh, I saw Sharon, you know, kind of like I talked to Sharon. But what I have found is in the last few months that I've made telephone calls to people, members or people from the congregation. And I've learned more about people in our congregation because of this isolation than I've ever known before. I talked to June Irvin for, I don't know, half an hour, 45 minutes this past week, and learned all kinds of things I didn't know about June. So I want to throw out that idea that these Zoom meetings are wonderful, but we can't meet in person, but we can pick up the phone.
Yeah.
And it's just been really, I would say, a blessing to me to get to know some people that otherwise I didn't know that much about them.
Yeah, and really it comes down to the responsibility of us as a church or as a congregation, you know, to make that effort to stay in contact with people. So, you know, you use don't often guilt people, but there's my guilt tip. Julianne, go ahead, and then Martha.
I'm not a telephone conversationalist. I can't wait to get off the telephone. But I actually rather enjoy a Zoom chat. If any of you wish to have a private Zoom chat with one another or anyone, you can text me or call me and see if my Zoom account is free, and I'd be willing to set one up for you and walk away. I don't have to observe or listen in, you know. So.
Yeah. Well, and I would say that goes for me as well, you know, that I have the church Zoom account, so I can do the same thing, and I have lots of time. So Martha.
You do?
Yeah.
Oh, I just wanted to say that I've had more fun chatting with Betsy Walters, as I know a couple of us have done. She's quite the character, and it's getting to the point where she will call and we'll talk for 10 minutes and I have something to do or she has something to do and we get back to it. And it's really a pleasure to you know, because we need to connect with another generation. For example, June Irvin would come to mind. And I've talked to Nell Moser. You know, the phone is really a good thing to keep us apprised of whatever. And I thank you, Connie, for reinforcing that. Our entrance monologue attempt to say that, but maybe you should come some Sunday and record with us and get up in front and say, you know, the phone calls are really important.
Yeah,
So,
well, yeah, it's something that you could even, you know, Kim was good enough to record the first Noel for us on piano. And I thought I'd put that as kind of like a Christmas card on the Facebook group. But Connie,
nice.
if you
nice, Kim.
Yeah, I think you'll all appreciate it very much. Connie, if you felt so inclined, maybe you could make that kind of recording, you know, saying, you know, that reach out, you know, use the phone, or I could help you with it.
Well, I'm wondering if we could make something like a phone tree.
That's possible too.
Would get several people involved, and they wouldn't have a large number of people to call. So that's something I would like to drum up business for.
Okay, great idea. Yeah, Sharon wanted to say something.
I want to pick up on organizing a Zoom call, because several weeks ago, Michael, you said something to the effect, this is off topic sort of. You said, I don't know that I'm convinced in white supremacy.
This is true. Yes, I am not. I do not see America as a white supremacist nation. This is true.
Kim has told me you've had quite a conversation. So I want to be part of a conversation about that topic.
Oh, okay.
And I was going to ask you, Michael, if you could organize a Zoom call for anybody else who might be interested.
Sure. Yeah, I am always down to talk about how we are a noble people. So yeah,
Okay.
JC. I mean, sorry, Laleen. You two look so similar these days.
Before we corner Michael into an affirmative, I am trying to put together some AEO for the coming months. And I've talked to Michael about, would he be willing to do some discussion groups on some different topics? So I would encourage him. I think that there are a number of people who would like to have that discussion with him.
Yeah.
So Michael, maybe you could put some energy into that one. All I need is a description and for you to tell me when you would be available and how many weeks.
Yeah, and you're right. This is a little off topic, but we did do the AEO of understanding white nationalism, and that was fairly well attended, and we got some good conversations out of that. Okay, so Sharon wanted to say something, then Connie, and go ahead, Sharon.
Okay, well, talking about AEO, Laleen. Recall last year I did a Saturday on the Chinese New Year, on birthday for all of us. And I'm wondering if we can do that again, if there's enough interest and that it could be Zoomed.
That sounds like a great idea.
Send me a brief description email.
Yeah.
Okay. Is any of this group right here interested?
I am, and I've been saving some wonderful music. Some other.
Yeah.
What was that about music?
I've been saving some wonderful music. Kathy Say and I talk all the time, and she sends me original Chinese recordings of music. So I'll pass them on, as well as her phone number, if maybe we can get her engaged.
Well, that would be wonderful, because I was wondering about her. I also want to include all nationalities that celebrate the Chinese New Year. So that would not just be limited to people of Chinese descent. So,
never would I have that thought.
What?
Never would I have that thought.
Yeah.
So it could include, Koreans, Filipinos, any Malaysians.
Yeah.
I'm not positive about Japanese, but I think so. We've got 2 Japanese experts on this panel right now.
Expert, you use that word liberally.
So that just broadens the horizon a little bit. Okay. Thank you.
No, it's a beautiful idea. I could be convinced to break out my erhu. So,
To break out what?
Erhu. It's a Chinese violin that I play, if you're generous, substandardly. So that was my attempt at a joke. Connie.
Well, I didn't get it. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I did.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Go ahead, Connie.
I want to respond to Sharon's idea. I think the idea that Sharon brought up of a theme that a person would like to discuss, like she said, white supremacy, I think that is the greatest idea for an opportunity for people to get together to discuss a topic. And I think we ought to jump right on it, because I think that would lead to other groups that have read a book or have something else they would like to discuss with their community. I think it's a great idea, and Sharon, I hope either Michael or Julian jumps on the idea and we can throw that out to the congregation, set up the Zoom meeting and see who wants to attend. But the 5 of us that got together and read Caste, that book, and then something happened that our last discussion, Donna Smith forgot about. So we didn't have our last Zoom meeting. But just with 5 people, I mean, it's incredible the discussions that we have. And I think this is a great opportunity to take advantage of these Zoom meetings, to get together and have a very specific topic we're going to talk about.
Yeah, I'm into it. I love the
Me
idea.
too.
Of course,
Me
you know, whether I'm hosting or Juliana's hosting, you would have very, very different meetings. So
Well, each of you could attend the meeting, you
It's
know.
true.
I mean, yeah. Yeah, and that's an idea too. Have one side point of view discussion and the other
Sure.
or whatever.
That's
think
actually, that would be fun.
It would be fun. Yeah, I'd
Yeah.
be more than happy to do that.
That's
So,
a great idea.
yeah. Yeah, Lillian, go ahead.
Connie, we also have a discussion about doing cast among the 5 of you. I don't know if you're involved in that or not, but the suggestion for that is that we will ask people to read the book ahead of time and then perhaps do 4 sessions of discussion mid to late February. Have you been a part of that discussion?
Well, we can talk about that because I have
Okay.
kind of a different point of view about that. About sometimes I think this saying "strike while the iron is hot." Well, right now, I mean, it could have happened a month ago. These topics are on our mind, and that's what I'm speaking to. That when some person in the congregation has a topic like that something's come up and they want to talk about it, I want us to get together right now for people who want to discuss it. So I think, anyway, we can talk about whether or not that's a good idea to have a bunch of people read that book. Okay.
Cool. Sounds good.
I
Kim,
have one.
Oh, so okay. Yeah, Glennis, then Sharon.
Well, I want to comment too, Sharon, because it's about the service and I don't want to let you go without telling you, wow. I love the song that you chose. It was perfect. It was all of that. And I want to know, did you sing that We Are from memory?
Oh, no, I did not.
It almost looked like you were. So I'm thinking, wow, she knows the whole song.
Well, I know most of it from memory, but there are 2 tricky rhythmic measures.
Yes.
That I really need to, you know, I'm tapping my foot and I'm keeping it going. So I appreciate your comments. Thank you very much.
It just came off beautifully.
Well, I took the Teal hymnal and I copied the pages of the song and I taped them together and I just spread them out in front of me on the lectern. That's why I needed the lectern, because I wasn't going to be flipping pages back and forth
Right.
to all those repeats.
Yeah.
Oh, no. Yeah.
And I wanted to add that I read up on the composer, Ysaye Barnwell. Some of you may know her as a participant in Sweet Honey in the Rock.
I did a workshop for.
Oh, really? Oh,
You did a workshop with her?
Well, we did workshops in the same place. So we drank a lot of coffee and ate lunch together. Yes.
Well, that woman is like Michael. She calls a list
Oh, yeah.
initials after her name.
Yes.
First it was in music, and then it was in speech pathology, of which she got master's and PhD, and then public health. You know, it's amazing.
Yeah.
So I just really admire her as a musician and what she has contributed to our Teal hymnal. If you just look up her name and look in the hymnal for her credits, they're some of my favorite songs now. So thank you, Glennis.
You're welcome.
We've got board members running away, but maybe, yeah, if it's okay with you, Sharon, maybe we could let Julianne talk because she's got to split soon.
Just very, very briefly, That was a Zoom chorus with a very inspiring version at this past summer's GA. I'd
Yes.
recommend you to go to YouTube and watch it. It's great.
Cool.
And with that, thank you all. I'm bowing out to another meeting.
Take care,
Bye,
Julianne.
Julianne.
Thanks for
Bye,
showing up.
Julianne.
Yeah, Sharon, you.
There's several versions
Mhm.
of Barnwell's work on YouTube, but I wanted to comment on the suggestion that we read cast. I think if we have the discussion about white supremacy, that would inspire people to pick up the book.
Sure.
And I checked out the audio version of it from the public library. So that's how I know a lot of what I learned. And it was doable for me because it's very traumatic, heavy reading.
Mhm.
And I could do it in short spurts when I cooked.
Cool.
So that's
Yeah.
just a suggestion.
Go ahead, Lillian. Yeah, it seems like we're moving into an informal discussion period, which is fine. But yeah.
Yeah. I just wanted to again have the opportunity to say that we have been putting some plans into AEO. It's coming in January, right after the holidays. Michael's been discussed with in terms of reserving some Wednesdays,
Mhm.
and I'd be very excited to have him be one of the first. But AEO will start in January, and there will be initially 4 or 5 offerings, along with comments at each AEO offering for people to send in suggestions for additional ideas and or to offer to do one themselves. So that's in the works. It will be here within a month.
Probably a week, 2 weeks.
Well, I mean, the information's going to go out right after the holiday.
Right.
It would have gone out a little before, but as most of you know, Kirsty is very ill and hasn't been able to take anyone else on.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it seems like we're winding down. Does anybody have any final words?
Well, I think every instance where we can draw the lines from ancient spiritual thought to modern spiritual thought, so that we see that all our stories are very similar.
Yeah.
And there seems to be no reason to think new ideas won't carry us even further.
Well said. Yeah. Go ahead, Lurley.
I just wanted to wish everybody happy holidays and we will, I guess we have one more Sunday in December.
Yep.
Take care, everybody. I got to go back to the kitchen and finish baking my carrot cake.
Sounds good.
Sounds good. All right. Well,
I'm supposed to be at the board meeting. So
it was.
Bye.
an invite.
Yeah, it was
Right.
wonderful seeing all of you, and I look very much forward to next Sunday when I get to talk about Hope for a New Year. So take care, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you, Michael.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.